In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use animation pose assets inside Unreal Engine to drive your hand animations in a smarter way. So right now what you guys can see is a custom metahuman that I created. So I'm going to show you how you can create your own library. So first of all, I'm going to create a level sequence. So I'm just going to right click on my content browser and just going to create a level sequence. And I'm going to call this one level sequence, and I'm going to call it hand tutorial. And I'm going to open my level sequence, make it slightly bigger here, and I'm going to add this metahuman to the track. So I'm going to add the metahuman. As you can see, as soon as you add the metahuman, the control rig is going to show up, and you will be able to select the different controls. By default, you're going to have the mode under selection mode. So in case you don't see the animation mode, if you select here in this tab, you're going to find a whole bunch of different modes where you can set up Unreal. And the only thing that you need to do is go ahead to animation and just get into animation, and automatically this left tab is going to show up on your screen. All right, so I have already everything in place. So the next part of the process is already creating your library. So if you head up here in the animation mode, you're going to find a whole bunch of different layers. The layer that I want to show you specifically is called Show Poses. As soon as you select Poses, you need to create a folder. So I'm just going to head up here under my tutorial here, and I'm going to create a new folder. So I'm just going to right click, add folder, and I'm going to call this one Hand Poses Tutorial, or Hand Poses is enough. And I'm going to just leave it here for now. By default, I noticed that sometimes it doesn't work perfectly, so I just need to reopen the folder, and automatically it's going to open things correctly. All right, so now that I have my animation pose window already on, the next step is already creating the first pose. Here by default, the create pose button is unlocked, or is locked by default. And the reason why is because first you need to select the joints or the controls. So if you head up to the level sequencer and just go to your metahuman control rig here, the only thing that you need to do is select the controls that you actually need. So I'm just going to select one of them, and automatically it's going to get highlight on my level sequencer. So I'm going to go here and select all the joints from the fingers that are assigned to the right hand. So I'm just going to start from my thumb and go all the way down to the pinky. All right, so here, as you can see, I have already all my controls that are related to the finger already selected. And as you can see, the create pose is already enabled. So I'm just going to go here and create the pose. Now the next stage is going to ask you, all right, what's the name of your pose? So in this case, I just want to save the standard pose. So I'm just going to call this one neutral. So I know if anytime I need just come back to the neutral pose, I already have it saved. And you're going to notice that as soon as we create it, it already even creates a thumbnail. And this thumbnail is pretty much whatever you have already on the viewport. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to adapt the thumbnail because ideally the thumbnail is very clear by default, and right now it's very noisy with all the control rigs. So I'm just going to press G on my keyboard, and I'm going to find a nice spot where I feel the hand feels like it's the neutral pose. So I just feel like possibly something around here feels quite neutral to me. Even if you don't see the thumb, you see the curvature of the finger. So this one should be enough to get the right thumbnail. Maybe something like this. There you go. So I have created already my neutral pose. Something that I like doing as well, every time I'm creating at least my pose libraries, is that on the sequencer, I also like to store the pose so I can see how they interact between the different poses. So what I'm going to do right now, since I already have all my control rigs already selected, I'm just going to go to my frame 0, and I'm going to press S on my keyboard so I can store that pose. All right, so we already created the first pose. Let's create the second pose. So for the second pose, I'm just going to head towards my frame 15. And I'm going to again enable my control rig view, my game. I'm going to get out of the game view so I can see all the control rigs. And I just want to quickly just activate the rotational, the pivot point. And I'm going to rotate everything on the z-axis and making sure that everything happens on the local space. That's correct. I'm just going to enter the full screen just to make sure that I can see more here. I'm just going to quickly actually just, close it dramatically for now. So I have already a starting point. I feel like the thumb probably needs to be in a different position. And now I can just come back here and finish the job here. Something like this. I feel like potentially the index finger can be slightly more, slightly lower. That's good. And also feels like that all these metacarpals here can be slightly up here. Just for the sake of don't get the hand too down here. All right. And now I'm just going to finish the job just by selecting the continuation of every single joint. So I'm just going to start now rotating every single one of them and making sure that everything looks correct here. I'm going to rotate this one as well. It feels like this one is going slightly more than it should. So I'm just going to put it back, put this one here. I recommend you to go slow here to make sure that whatever pose you store on the library, it's good enough. And the cool thing about this is that once you create it once, it's pretty much for life because you can access this library for every other project or any other metahuman. So I'm just going to carry on here, and I'm going to making sure that all the other metacarpals are bended correctly. I think I'm missing one here somewhere. Yeah, I'm missing the index one here that is kind of hidden behind the thumb here. So I just going to put it down here. It feels more natural. I feel like possibly I can reselect all these four and just push it slightly more. There you go. And now the thumb, potentially I can just put it like this. Let me press G. I can just push slightly the pinky down a little bit. And this one is coming down too much for my taste. All right, now it feels like we have a thumb. All right, so we already created the thumb. So I'm going just to enable for now I'm going to get out of the game view so I can see the control rig, and I'm going to jump back again to my level sequence. And first, very important, and I'm going to repeat this again, every time you create a new pose, first you need to select the joints or the controls in this case, right? So here we already created a pose that already, if you can see here, it identifies the 21 control match. And the cool thing about this is that it already have the selection stored inside Unreal Engine. So instead of going through my level sequence and now select every single control back again, I can just come back here and select controls. And automatically, I'm going to select already the controls that are assigned to this pose, which is pretty much all the hand poses that I want to create. So we have already the pose created. I'm going to press G to get out of the game view to enter actually the game view, and I'm going to get into one view where I can see the fist better. So something like this for now. And once I have it, I just need to create the pose. So I have all my controls selected, create pose, and now I can just call this one fist. Great, that's it. And automatically, as you can see, we already created our pose. I'm just going to press S to make sure that I actually, create a key for that position. So right now, as you can see, we have already our neutral pose and also our fist pose. Now, the second thing that I want to explain is that not only you can copy, but also you can paste poses. So let's say I want to, you are creating an animation and you want to make sure that I get back to the neutral pose. So the reason why we're creating this is because now you can reuse this every time. So since I'm already here in my control rig pose, I can just select my neutral pose, select my controls that are involved in that pose, and just click paste pose. Automatically, it's going to paste the pose and create the keyframes for those. And it's as simple as that. You can create as many poses as possible. The next pose that I want to create, I want to jump into my frame 45, and I want to create more of an extended pose. So I'm just going to select all my joints. I'm going to get into my rotational mode, and I'm just going to make a quick extension here. It feels like possibly the index can be slightly more extended, something like this. And potentially the thumb can be slightly more extended, something like this. Also, the pinky can be slightly more extended. And also, since we already have, the hand extended, I want to kind of, like give it a slightly more action here. So I'm just going to erect it a little bit here, something like this. Feels slightly more natural here. All right, so same as before, I'm going to make sure, oops, I have the pinky absolutely broken, so I need to fix that. Be careful here. Something like this for now. There you go. All right, so since I already have the post created, it's as simple as what we did before. I'm going to press G to make sure that I'm already out of the view where I see all the controls. So I'm just going to now select a view where I see my hand extended. I'm going to select all my controls that are involved in the action, and I'm going to create a new pose. And this one, I'm going to name it extended. Great asset. And as you can see right now, we have already the extended version. All right, so now the next thing that I want to show you is that you not only need to create the poses for every single hand, because the cool thing about this is that you can reuse whatever pose that you created in one hand and just mirror to the other side. So if you head up here in your control rig pose, and let's say, for example, I want my left hand to have the extend pose as the right hand. If you go towards your extend version, you're going to notice that here you have one tick area that you can hit that is called mirror. Mirror, pretty much what it does, it tries to match whatever controls are related on the other side of the skeleton. So right now we have all of our controls related to the right area because we're working the right hand. As soon as we click mirror, automatically it's going to match to the left side. So since we have already the mirror selected and we're in the extended pose, if I select my controls, you're going to notice that it's going to jump to the other controls, to the other side controls. So I select the controls, and now automatically you can see that we have the left side control selected. And if I click paste, check this out. Automatically is going to recreate the same extended version on the other side. And you can do the same thing for everything. So let's say, for example, I want the extended here, and I want maybe in frame 75 to be the fist version. Since we already have the mirror selected and we have our controls already selected, I just need to click paste the post, and automatically I'm going to have everything working automatically. And the great thing about this is that you can have a huge library with different poses that you can keep reusing with different projects as long as metahuman related. So I want to show you how I reuse this hand pose library into the animation that I was creating. So right now I have this animation where I have the character working towards the camera, and there is one action where she's trying to pull out the sword from her bag. Obviously, I use mockup data for that, but I want you to know that most of the time when you use mockup data, they don't come with finger animation or even hand animation in some cases, so you need to do that manually. And the cool thing is that we already create our post library that we can reuse here. So the process is actually very simple. So if you head up here under body, what you need to do, you need to go to your metahuman control rig, and you need to create what is called an additive layer. An additive layer is nothing else than animation on top of your animation without replacing it. It's just going to be adding on top. Right now, let's say, for example, I want to tweak the hand animation in this specific frame. So as we already know, we just need to head up towards our pose that we just created, and we just need to select first the control. So I know this one is my left hand, so I'm just going to go here. I'm going to select the pose that I want, like for example, extended in this case, and I'm going to make sure that it's mirror. In this case, I'm going to select my controls. Automatically, those controls are going to be selected on the level sequencer, and now I'm just going to hit paste. Automatically the character is going to already create the pose, and once I am absolutely happy with it, I just need to get into one of the frames where I feel like, and press S to create the key here. And that's pretty much it. At this stage, I already have my cinematic character. She's already performing, fingers are working, and everything is looking nice.